Good morning. This is Deb Evans coming to you live from Stagecoach, Texas, and I'm so excited to have a Google Hangout here with Susan Blackbeth coming to us live from, where are you coming live from, Susan?
The Chicago suburbs.
Chicago. So we're going to talk about this great upcoming event that you have with Franchise Capital Exchange. Before we start, I see some really impressive awards behind you, because I know I have to address them. I know you've been in franchising, which seems like forever, even though you are so young. You can't possibly be over 21. But do I see a Crystal Compass, and I think I see the Bonnie Levine Award, don't I?
You do. Yep, they're on the shelf behind me.
They should be proud. Oh, you should be really proud. So why, anybody that's watching that's really not familiar with franchising or either one of these awards, you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. They are two things I'm really quite proud of. So 14 years in franchising, and 2012 was the Bonnie Levine Award, which is the IFA's Women's Leadership Award. And I'm not nearly as excited about having the trophy on the bookshelf behind me as I am sharing that title, that honor, with the other women that have gotten it over the years. They are an amazing crowd to even have your name mentioned amongst. So that's really, really exciting. And same for the Crystal Compass. But the Crystal Compass is given by the Women's Franchise Committee, also part of the IFA. And reason that award is so exciting, or recognition is so exciting for me and held so close, is because I served on that committee for a number of years and ultimately chaired it for a couple of years too, and the leadership conference, and just, oh my gosh, the amazing women in that room who taught me a lot about life and leadership and were there with me as I had my kids and got married and all of those things. So just an absolute honor to have them recognize me for just doing what we do.
Well, you and I have talked about this before, and all of your accomplishments and all of the work, and I know that you're on IFA committees, you're on the board, and how could you possibly have found any additional time to start this great event, Franchise Capital Exchange? I mean, it just doesn't, I know that if you really want something done, you go to the busiest person, which I think somebody did not approach you. You did this on your own. So why don't you give us a little bit of history and why you put this event together so that everybody has a clear understanding of what it is.
Oh, it's so fun to get to talk about it. Sometimes when we're so deep in the work of the event, which is where we're at right now, you kind of lose sight of the whys. So thank you for asking that. It was 2011, October of 2011, and I was lifting weights in my basement, and I was going through for Superwash. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Superwash Car Washes, which is my family's self-serve car wash franchise. We have about 270 locations across the country, and we were starting to have some of the conversations about private equity, what we were going to do as a family. We were starting to answer some of the prospecting calls that were coming our way, and I was lifting weights that morning, and I just thought to myself, why does it have to be so complicated? And many of us either know or know of Fred DeLuca, the founder of Subway, and every time Fred and I have had a conversation where we talk about business opportunities or just business in general, he always says, why does it have to be so complicated? And that he's really drawn to the simplicity of deals. And so I just got to thinking about it that day, and I was like, gosh, why can't we just put them in a room together? And if you have a blue name tag, that means you have a franchise company that you are interested in taking on an equity capital partner. And if you have a green name tag, it means you have a checkbook and you're interested in buying a franchise company. And so I tried to get this vision to go away, because my prior life, before coming into franchising, I was in event planning. I wrote conferences for senior level banking and IT executives, New York, San Francisco, New Orleans, all over the country. And I know how much time they take and how much work they take, and especially to do them well. And so I did kind of want the vision to go away. So I made a whole bunch of introductory phone calls, just doing my due diligence to people that I respect and trust and know in franchising would absolutely say, Susan, there's no room, or there's no need, there's no whatever. I was trying to get them to tell me to have it, don't do it. And 25 calls later, that never happened. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite response. People just kept saying, oh my God, why has nobody done this before? Do you really think you're the first person to have this idea? One of my friends said that to me. Do you really think you're the first person to have this idea? And I said, no, Carl, I don't think I'm the first person to have the idea. I think I'm just the first person that's going to do anything about it. And so I called my dad, who's also my CEO, but probably one of my, not probably, my greatest friend and mentor that I look to for things like this to bounce stuff off of. And I said, Dad, I need you to be my dad for the next 5 minutes, not my CEO, because I knew my CEO was going to hear, oh my gosh, she's going to do something else in addition to Superwash. And so we just talked it through, and I said, Dad, it is as clear to me as if the event has already happened. The vision is that clear. I knew the hotel I wanted to have it in, the type of hotel I wanted to have it in. I knew the colors of the name tags, everything, the food, the whole deal. And he said, Susan, you know, one of the main things I've learned in business is never ignore a vision. And so from there, we hit the ground running, and I do feel that I have some real strengths in the business world. I also am very comfortable with the fact that I have a lot of weaknesses, like details and filing. And so I knew that I had to go find some partners to help me make this thing happen. Right? There was no way I could put it all on my shoulders and have it be any good or fulfill the vision. My first call was to one of my main confidants and right-hand folks and dearest friends and brightest people in franchising, and that was Marianne O'Connell at FranWise. She's the president of FranWise, and I ran the idea by her and said, I can't guarantee you that we're going to make any money doing this, but what I can guarantee is it's not going to cost you any money. I will take the personal financial risk. Will you join me? She said, heck yeah, I'll join you, and now we got to find somebody to do the logistics. And that's when we talked to our friends Thelma Ramey and Rose Shiflett at Plan Ahead Events in Tampa Bay. This is what they do, is plan events for franchise companies and other associations, etc. And so by the end of about 10 days later, the four of us had saddled up together for an adventure, and we had said, look, the friendship comes first. And we've tried to hold as true to that as we can over 3 years, and we're really glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, all of you have put together such a fabulous event. So you said this is the third or the fourth event?
This is 3. Yep. So the first 2 years, it was actually under the banner of the Deal Makers Summit, because it was really all about the deals getting done. And then we circled back and we said, look, if we think that this event's going to have any longevity, we need to have a more specific, non-generic term that we can go out and trademark and we can use. And so we spent about 6 months working on it. And then we pulled together our board of advisors, which I do say so myself, is a pretty impressive crew of Rocco Fiorentino from Benetrends, John Rachi from Title Boxing Club, Michael Haith from Franchise Sherpas, Tabassum Mumtaz from Apex, Long John Silver's group. He's a large multi-unit franchisee, and Clay Harmon from Rourke Capital. We pulled them together and we ran our top 3 names by them, and resoundingly they said, none of those do it for us. Oh man, you know, after you've spent 6 months working on a new name, but we came back and we said, you know what, none of them do it for us. And Clay, actually, God bless Clay, he sent a note and just said, this is just what's coming to me. What about Franchise Capital Exchange? And all, Marianne, myself, Rose, Thelma, we went, that was it. We sent it out to the board, and the board said, that's it. And boom, Franchise Capital Exchange.
Very good. And it's a perfect name for a perfect event. So for anybody that's really not familiar, I mean, you've given us an overview and talked about the board of advisors. Why don't you just give us a little bit, a sneak peek of the agenda? Once somebody arrives in Chicago, whether they're an investor or a franchisor, what can they expect?
Yeah, it's all about personal connections, and that's part of the reason that we went to Franchise Capital Exchange. Because it's not only about the capital exchange, but the human capital exchange. So not just equity capital, but human capital as well. And so myself and Marianne, Rose, and Thelma, we often joke, but it actually does happen. We say we hug them on the way in and we hug them on the way out. It's a very, very personal touch event. And so I describe it as the Bachelor meets the Shark Tank. And now I can add a third reality show reference, which is The Voice, because we are adding a coaches panel this year. But what will happen is they'll get to Chicago. Monday night is a very casual cocktail reception, just so everybody can see who's showing up, because we keep everything very confidential up until the event. And that's coming from a place of me being a franchisor and understanding how upset that can make your system, how paranoid your franchisees can become. It's just it's a very special topic for a lot of companies, and we don't want to breach any confidentiality. So we
Right.
keep that very close to the vest until we are there and we have an opportunity to talk with our franchisors, one-on-one, and make sure that they're comfortable with any kind of outreach after that. So that's Monday night, and everybody just kind of pairs up. There's no formal dinner that night. Everybody sort of pairs up and goes off to dinner, just connects, and it's really fun. It's just a great way to go, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. Oh, I didn't know, and it turns out really, really well. We're in the Gold Coast of Chicago at the Hotel Sofitel, which is one of the top properties in the city, in one of the top areas in the city. So great restaurants, great nightlife, everything right around there. So people have a real great shot to go out and make connections that first night right away. Tuesday morning, a little unconventional, but I'm a triathlete, or aspiring triathlete, I guess I should say. And so we always try and grab a run on Tuesday morning. So there's usually a small group of 4, 5, 6 of us that head to the lake and go run the lakefront, stretch out our legs, just kind of clear our minds, and have a chance again just to chat and do a little 5K. So we always have a good time doing that, except for when I get all red and exercisey, and then it's never good from there. But we do have fun. And so that's Tuesday morning. We start pretty slow on Tuesday morning. We don't get together until about 9 for registration. Reason for that is our equity friends, a lot of them fly from the East Coast, and they are on the road basically nonstop in many cases. So we wanted to set the agenda such that they could still fly in early Tuesday morning into O'Hare in most cases, and not have to have a second night on the road. So it's all very engineered to work with our different party schedules. So Tuesday morning, we start with a great opening session by Chang Cohen, who is our diamond sponsor, have been our lead sponsor for all 3 years of the event. Amy and Rick and Michael Daigle do an amazing job talking to our equity group and really just helping them understand the nuances of investing in franchises. They're wonderful M&A attorneys. Our franchisors go off and have another session about preparing for their pitches. We open with a great lunch. Fran Data and Ron Feldman is going to give a state of the industry for our investor groups, and it'll be for the whole audience, but really just saying, here's what we see happening in franchising. Then from 1 to 5, we just hit it hard, and it's pitch session after pitch session after pitch session. So it's back to back to back. So each of our franchisors goes through a qualification process, and they do that with Marianne. I work with all of our equity attendees. Marianne works with all of our franchisors. And so she pre-qualifies them for the event. They get 20 minutes to say where they've been, where they're at, where they're going, and what they're going to use the money for. What's the ask, and what's the blue sky look like for the future? This is their chance to really shine in front of the investors. Then our panel of our board of advisors plus Barb Moran Goodrich, who's also a Bonnie Levine Award winner this year, is there. That's the 6 people that are going to fill out our coaches panel to really work with the companies and encourage them just to be thinking about their businesses a little, maybe a little differently, or just give some extra consideration. One of the main pieces of feedback we hear each year is, my gosh, I left knowing so much more about my company than I knew when I got here.
Right.
And we want to give that. So pitch session, back to back to back, and then we have one-on-one meetings. And that is that we reserve 6 hotel rooms that we have converted from hotel rooms. We don't want it to be creepy. So we move the beds out and bring in conference tables. We actually turn them into secure conference rooms. And so each presenting franchisor has a one-on-one slot that if you're the equity company, Deb, you would come up and say, gosh, I really like what Susan's company had to say. I want to spend some more time getting to know her. And we do it in a private setting because you're going to start to share confidential information typically at that point. Go into a great evening event that's all about the networking, big action stations of food so you can move amongst the tables. And if you get stuck at a conversation you didn't want to be at, you can be like, oh, the prime rib's out. You have a reason to get up and move. And likewise, if you're having a great conversation, you can keep it going at your own speed and tempo. And it's all about Deb Evans walking up to Susan Blackbeth and saying, gosh, I really wanted to meet Clay Harmon from Rourke. Could you introduce me? And literally we walk over and make an intro. So typically 75 people. We may be a little bigger than that this year, but it's not meant to be much bigger than that. And most of the attendees, almost all of them, say, please don't let it get to be 200 people and have it be another conference. This is really a summit or a gathering, a really neat place. Then we turn around and do the same thing on Wednesday morning. More pitch sessions, and we're done by noon. Everybody's back on their way home, back to their businesses and their families.
Right. So, I mean, you have it strategically structured. You've got it down pat. What if we have, and I see that we've got several viewers right now, what if one of our viewers is a franchisor that's really interested in learning more, going through the pre-qualifications? What does that person need to do right now, today, as soon as they're done watching our Hangout?
Yeah, as soon as we're done today, they need to call Marianne O'Connell, and I can get her phone number for them. They need to call Marianne. We've actually got a coaching call today at 2, where what we'll do is we'll bring Amy Chang from Chang Cohen, Clay Harmon from Rourke. We'll bring in an investment banker, myself, and Marianne, and we're there to coach our franchisors on their presentations, what they need to include in their pitch time. So as many folks as we can have officially registered and signed up on the franchisor side before that call today, the best for them. That being said, we've filled out all of our incubator companies. So all of our startup slots are filled. So you have to be really in the 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, 100 unit range at this point. It can't be much smaller than 10 or 15. Now, if you've got huge system-wide sales on 10 or 15 stores, that's going to be a better opportunity for you to come in. I think there's 2 slots left because we'll only have pretty much a max of 14 companies that can fit into the schedule. So it'll be somewhere between 10 and 14 companies by the time we're done. But we are welcoming exciting concepts. That's one thing we love to do. We love to highlight different kinds of companies in franchising. We've got a great brand spanking new fast casual restaurant that is going to blow your hair back. I think you're going to be super excited. You know, we've got some other neat casual dining concepts. So we've got probably 4 or 5 in the food space, I would guess, by the time we're done. We've got personal care services represented this year. We've got baby and toddler services and retail represented. Same for the senior living. So we've got senior living that's going to be there. So we really want to show that franchising isn't just food. And we want to highlight some of the really cool, neat concepts that are coming to the world of franchising.
Very good. Now, what if one of our viewers is an investor? They want to invest in one of these franchises and they want to be part of that. You still have room for them?
We do. So I think by the time we're done, we'll have about 15 to 20 checkbooks, as I call it, in the room, which is great. They'll go all the way from, I've obviously mentioned Rourke several times. They'll go all the way from the Rourkes of the franchise investing world to the Halifax Group, Investors Management Corporation, Franchise Sherpas will be there. And then we'll have some individual investors who cut their teeth on franchising and don't necessarily want to run the day-to-day, but they've got cash that they want to invest into brands that they believe in. And so they love to see these new startups and these younger companies. Those equity folks should call me. So however you would like to do it, whether we give phone numbers at the end, whatever you'd recommend. But yeah, please reach out to us and make sure it's soon because we're finalizing details in the next probably 5-10 days.
Right. Well, anybody that's watching now can go to franchisecapitalexchange.com and get the contact information and reach out to you and Marianne appropriately so that they can get into the fold and get started. I'm looking to see, we've got a couple of questions. I think you've covered them. Anything else that attendees or we want to get that information out to anybody? I think you've pretty much covered it all.
The one main thing I would say is that there is no general admission to this event. So of those 75 people, we try and keep the balance very, very strict at a third, a third, a third. So a third franchisors that are actively seeking a capital partner, a third that are our investors actively seeking franchise investments, and a third that are our event partners and sponsors. And so we really try and keep that balance for the networking and the human capital exchange. So franchisors, they can't just come and attend. They have to be pre-qualified through Marianne. They have to have a registration number that's been assigned by her to be able to even register. The equity groups, once they talk to me, they can go ahead and register for the event, but there is no general admission.
Very good. Well, I think we've done it all. We've covered it. So if there's any other questions, viewers, if you have, go out to the website, reach out to Susan, reach out to Marianne. We've got a Facebook page as well, so they can find us on Facebook. But I'd say go to the website and then make the contact. So Susan, thank you so much for giving us this additional information, and I will see you in just less than 3 weeks.
T-minus 20 days. I can't believe it. And I just secured the welcome gift yesterday. And I got to tell you, it's going to be a tasty one. So
tasty.
Yeah. So wait for that welcome gift, girl. We'll see you in Chicago.
You're going to have food. You're going to have drinks. You're going to have fun. It's, who wouldn't want to go?
It's a regular Susan event, though. You got to have all those things.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to those who have watched it. And don't anybody that's watching, you've got the link. Share it with your friends. Let them know if
Please.
you know anybody that needs to have this information. Feel free to socially share it.
We would love that. Thank you so much to everybody that's considering participating. We really appreciate your support.
Very good.